Hello, I'm Nolan,
And I'm Caden.
and our current topic is...
Why video games are more popular in Canada than movies are.
Now, it's interesting because, first off, I didn't even know that that was true. I didn't know that was factual until, we were told to record this.
I have
But,
to agree with them on that one.
but honestly, I see why. Because the way video games tell stories is completely different than how movies tell stories. And it's such a vast difference that works in some situations, but they're different, they're completely different techniques, so they don't translate well through one another.
Again, I have to agree on that one because, like he said, video games are a lot more interactive. They're very, very interactive, where you are the character, you feel the drama, and you're needing to worry about all the things like how many bullets do I have left, or how much of this do I have left, and how do I survive this?
Yeah, and when you're actually the one in that situation, and you're not just watching the situation from a third-person perspective, then you feel like you're in it. You feel a lot more immersed in the story, which is like completely changes how you view it.
I wouldn't necessarily say a movie would be from a third-person perspective. I mean, technically it would be, but... Actually, no, technically it would be, but I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah,
You
you're
know
right.
what? Actually, no. I feel like you're right, because third person would mean that because movies are more you're watching someone else's story.
Mm-hmm.
Video games are more you are put
You
into
are
the
the
story,
Yeah.
which would make sense that you would argue that it's not third person, because I don't think movies are, because you're not supposed to insert yourself into it,
Mm-hmm.
which is also one of the flaws of telling a story through movies, is because you're not as immersed and you don't remember the story as vividly when you're not the one in that stressful situation, as you said, worrying about how many bullets you have.
Also, when you're in... I wouldn't say it's not being that character that makes it not so stressful. I'd also say watching a movie is more like growing to love these characters like they're people you actually know. Kind of like having a close friend rather than being the person that's going through it. So I can kind of see where that it's a kind of a different feeling, because when you're watching a movie, you're kind of like, oh no, that person's in danger.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it also,
oh no, I'm in danger.
yeah, it makes sense. It also adds on to the point that it is a different method, and it's why they don't translate well. It's because like you said, it's more you're growing close to this person rather than I am that person. And this big difference between how stories are told through video games and movies is why when you turn a video game into a movie, like Sonic movie, the old Mario Bros movies and whatever, it doesn't work, because they're trying to tell the same story through a method that doesn't tell the story well.
Yeah, the Sonic movie was a bit different though. It kind of like redid it. Like
The
they
Sonic
put a twist
movie,
on it.
they didn't take the main the story from the game and put it into movie format. They took the characters and the logic, like the universe of the game, and they made a new story with it, which is, I feel like, how video game movies should be structured instead of what they've been trying to do, because that's a big mistake.
Have you seen a God Eater anime?
God Eater.
There's this game called God Eater, and what they did is they made a show of it, and in the show, your character is the main character technically, but it's this one guy, and it's basically what happens in the game with the same rules, same everything, same characters, and it's really it's told, because it's like an anime movie, or it's an anime series. I'm pretty sure actually. It's really good, but with this this game thing, along with this, there's also Choose Your Own Adventures, which most of them that I've seen are like you're talking to the main character, making the decisions for the main character, such as like there was one on Netflix, Bear Grylls, where he look back at you and say, "What do you think we should do?" Or even where Heist with Markiplier.
Yeah, you're adding to...
What are you gonna do?
You're adding to what the main character does instead of you are the main character, which is like this whole other weird, random genre.
Which is still cool, but... honestly, I'd rather play a video game than
Then just make decisions for someone
Be the
else to then
companion.
act out. Yeah, Telltale games, well, you know that because that's kind of what they are.
Mhm.
They're like what Telltale does. They're not really they're not known for being the best kinds of video games.
I mean, they can be. Some of them I've seen that have been like really, really good, and you really kind of get to know the character if they
Really?
do it right.
I haven't heard of that.
But I don't know. Sometimes it's just kind of. Either way, depends on the
Have
person
you
you're
seen? Do you know of the video game Ni no Kuni?
at. No. I don't think
Oh.
so.
Well, then let me explain. The video game looks so great. I still want to play it to this day. I've yet to get it, but I super want to get it. They put a movie of Ni no Kuni on Netflix, and I don't even know what the similarities were. I guess they tried to do a Sonic, and they tried to take that world and make a new story around it, but they did it so awfully.
And you say you haven't played the game before.
I haven't played the game, but I've watched playthroughs, and I know I haven't watched all playthroughs. I've watched like the beginning of the game, and I've seen what the game's about and how its mechanics work, and it looks really good. And I know people who have played the game, and they say it's really. I just swore. I'm gonna have to bleep that out.
I'm gonna.
You're welcome. But they tried to take that universe and put it in a movie, and it just didn't work. And I don't know if that had to do with the writers being bad at writing, or that was just a whole different situation of video game stories not translating well to movies.
I know there's a lot of things, like, I like how they do this with this, is in movies and whatnot. They'll take this movie, and they may not do the same, or they may not take the same thing from the game, but what they'll do, and it's also something that is really good for book writing as well, is that setting rules for your character, so they're not godly enough to, like, change it. Setting rules and making the movie that way, or writing the book that way. Because if you take a game, the game has rules. The game has limitations. Your character has limitations. Where in a movie, you don't really know the limitations of the character. You don't really know the full strength of your character. And that's that, I guess. That's the...
We've gotten way off topic, and this has gone for way too long.
No, 5
So
minutes, right?
7 minutes. Alright, so we're gonna end it there.
Alright.
And thank you to C418 for letting me use his awesome music.